Mid-career hospitalist renegotiation. Leverage points your employer already knows. The 2025 National Hospital Medicine data shows that new hire guaranteed compensation is $265,000 at the national median. Incumbent physician compensation is $343,122. The gap between those two numbers, $78,122, is what a hospitalist physician earns their way across over their first several years. If you have been employed for 3 or more years and you have never renegotiated, there is a meaningful probability that gap has not fully closed. 54.8% of adult hospital medicine groups use formal longevity differentials. That means 45.2% do not. If you work for a group in that 45.2%, tenure appreciation is not automatic. It requires you to ask. 4 leverage points specific to hospital medicine. First, the subsidy transparency argument. The hospital is paying $214,321 per physician per year in financial support above professional fee collections. If your group's quality metrics, length of stay performance, or throughput numbers have improved since you joined, the hospital's return on that subsidy has increased. That is a documented, quantifiable argument for increasing your share. Request the group's most recent data on readmission rates, discharge before noon percentages, and length of stay trends. If those numbers improved under your tenure, that data belongs in your renegotiation conversation. Second, the benchmarking cadence gap. 60.4% of adult hospital medicine groups benchmark physician compensation annually. If your employer benchmarks annually and you have not had a compensation review in 2 years, your pay is running against 2 years of market movement. At the 3% annual growth embedded in the general physician market, that is a $20,000 gap at the $343,000 median. Ask when compensation was last benchmarked and what data source was used. Third, NP and PA team ratio. 79.8% of adult HMG groups employ NPs and PAs. The hospitalists who mentor, supervise, and build the clinical competency of those teams are providing administrative and educational work that most contracts compensate at 0% of total comp. The median admin allocation for HMIM is 0. A physician who manages an APP team is providing supervision value that is not reflected in their clinical comp. Name it in the renegotiation. Fourth, the census control argument. If you are managing above the typical daily patient census, routinely at 18 or more patients rather than 14 to 16, your work RVU production is in the upper quartile range. The inverse rate dynamic from the data means you are generating more revenue per shift at a lower per unit pay rate. That is quantifiable. Pull your production reports, calculate your effective dollar per work RVU rate, and compare it to the national median of $73.04. Renegotiation in hospital medicine is not a salary ask. It is a data presentation. The physician who arrives with specific numbers, subsidy visibility, benchmarking gap, APP supervision, census data, is the physician who moves the conversation off a no. Run your contract through ClauseLine at ClauseLine.com.